All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Deion Sanders' first year at Colorado started off with a bang as his Buffaloes went on the road to begin the season and they knocked off a TCU squad that had just played for the national championship in January. Coach Prime brought some much needed attention to the Colorado Buffaloes program as it took him just one game to match the team's win total from the previous year. In all, the Buffs had won their first three games of the season, and the atmosphere in Boulder had changed as the Buffaloes were now must see TV. We saw celebrities out of the wazoo, no pun intended, going to Boulder to be on the sidelines at the games. College Game Day was there. From ESPN, we saw the Fox pregame show there as well, and the place was buzzing. But the Pac-12 slate, when the Pac-12 conference schedule began for Colorado, it wouldn't be so kind to the Buffaloes. We saw them get that 42-6 beat down a couple of months ago, courtesy of Oregon, and it didn't stop there. It looked like Colorado had gotten back on track several weeks after that. They were up 29-0 at home on Stanford, only to blow that and lose that game in overtime. Now, in total, the Buffs have only won one game within the Pac-12 this season, with their worst loss coming this past Friday night in Pullman, courtesy of Washington State, as they fell 56 to 14. And after beginning this season with a record of 3-0, Colorado is now 4-7, and there won't be any bowl game for them this season. Now, the folks who don't like Dion, they're definitely happy right now because they're going to sit back and say, "Well, I told you so." But, Coach Prime said they were coming when he got to Boulder. He knows that it's going to be a work in progress. And honestly, I do expect him to keep building, as the only way for him to go with this program is up. Now, let's not forget, he took over a program that not only won just one game last season, they haven't had a winning record since 2016. We saw an influx of new players for Colorado this year, 86 or 87 to be exact. And things are changing, but for Colorado to take that next step and consistently finish with a winning record and consistently push for conference championships and consistently push for national championships, all of those things are levels that they have to try to get to. But they've got to get better in the trenches. And then this is on both sides of the football. Colorado has to get better. You look at their starting quarterback, Shador Sanders. He was sacked. He has been sacked so far this season 52 times. As a whole, Colorado pass throwers have been sacked 54 times this season. You want to double that, for the amount of times that they've been hit. Then on top of that, you're talking about a Colorado defense that they really don't create a lot of pressure. They've only had 27 sacks on the season compared to the 54 that their offense is giving up rather. And as a whole, the Buffaloes are 131st out of 133 teams at the FBS level in total defense this year. That's not going to get it done. They've had 5 games where they've given up at least 40 points, including the 56-point barrage that the Cougars just laid on them Friday night. We've seen that Dion has the ability to get the skill players to come to Boulder with him, and I think that's something that is going to continue. And I think he does have this thing going in the right direction. But regardless of the level of football that you're playing, Pee Wees, high school, college, pros, you name it. If you don't have those big uglies up front to protect your quarterback and open those holes for the running backs, if you don't have those big uglies on the defensive side of the ball that can create pressure, you know what? You're not going to win a lot of games. And that's something that is definitely going to have to change for this Colorado team. Now, Dion has shown that he can get these skill players there. And I think it's only a matter of time before he gets the big uglies there. And obviously, now Colorado, they're getting ready to transition back to the Big 12. Obviously, it's not the same as Big 12 that it was when Colorado left more than a decade ago, but nonetheless, you got schools in Florida in that conference. You still got a solid footprint in the state of Texas. to very fertile recruiting grounds. And I bring up the state of Florida because, of course, that's where Dion's from. And then, of course, the fertile state of Texas for high school talent, not to mention Dion's well known there, especially from his time playing in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys. Nonetheless, it's going to be time for him to go to those states and I think recruit heavily, not just for the skill players, but like I keep harping on it, the offensive and defensive linemen as Colorado has to get better. And I think they definitely will. There's also going to be people out there that want to see Dion fail, unfortunately, due to the fact of not only his notoriety, but how much that we see him on television with the commercials. And you're seeing some of the Colorado players on commercials, and they're going to be those that want to sit back and say, well, hey, maybe this experience humbled him. I don't know the man personally, but I will say this. I'm not going to say that it humbled him. I'm going to say that this is going to make him work harder for his team to come out and be even better than they were this year in comparison to 2022. And I think Colorado is going to do that. They definitely want to try to finish on a positive note. They've got Utah on the road this coming Saturday. But you just look at it; they've just got to find a way to get better. And I say this because we see the talent at the skill positions, and I cannot, excuse me, harp on this enough that it's all about getting better in the trenches. And you look at it right now, you look at some of the games that Colorado lost this season. Had they been a little bit better defensively, are we having the same conversation right now? I highly doubt it. Had they been a little bit better at running the football, would we be having the same conversation right now? I highly doubt it. But at the end of the day, these are the growing pains that come with building a program. So compared to 2022, this was an improvement for Colorado. Obviously, the media hype that the Buffaloes had for the first 2 months of the season was unparalleled. But I'll say this: Dion, even though his team is going to finish this year with a losing record, he has people talking about the Colorado program in a way that we probably haven't heard in about 30 years when the Buffaloes were national championship contenders. So it's only a matter of time, like I said, before Colorado gets back to being consistently ranked. Remember, they were ranked earlier this season after that 3-0 start. But nonetheless, it's a work in progress. They did show strides of improvement this year, and let's see how things continue to improve for Dion and Colorado as they transition back into the Big 12. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.